Well, what's up, everybody? My name is Chris Mayer, and you're tuned in to The Bit Show, the Boston Indies talk show and happy hour presented by Boston Indies, Boston's home for independent games. We got a great show for you tonight, but before we get started, just a couple quick announcements. First up, this is probably going to be the last episode of Season 3. We have technically had 8 episodes this season. It was a little broken up because of the holidays and all that sort of stuff, but yeah, gonna take a little break here. I'm, as discussed in the pre-show, I'm moving to Concord, Massachusetts in like 2 weeks. So I gotta break all this stuff down and move my lights and get the mic set up and everything. So we gotta take a little time off. But in the meantime, plenty of other stuff going on around town for you to check out. Starting with Boston Postmortem is gonna be next Tuesday, January 26th. I just put a link in the chat. Ichiro is gonna be part of that. Ichiro, do you wanna say what that is or what you're going to be doing?
Yeah, I think, and also Turnip Boy folks and also John, right? We're going to basically, we're going to sort of do dueling streams on Discord, right? Where we're all spending about an hour starting at 7 o'clock, not today, but sometime next week. And basically, John, you can say what you're working on. I am going to be talking about level design in and the effects stack that we are replacing the default Unity effects in. I'm just going to be doing a whole bunch of stuff. It's going to be visual. There's going to be lots of pizza. So come on by.
Sweet. Sounds good. That is next Tuesday. And again, link is in the chat. After that, on Wednesday, Boston Unity Group is going to be having a talk about WebXR. Does the X stand for something? I don't actually know. Or is it just a stand-in for A or V?
Extended, right?
Extended reality?
Extra.
Okay, sure. I believe that. Anyway, it's about web-based virtual reality application, or web-based, what did we just say? Extra reality applications? I don't know. Link is in the chat. You can check that out. Graham, also in the chat, could probably explain that a little bit better. I read 2 sentences about it. Yeah. And then on Thursday... Is that right? Yes. Thursday night is going to be the start of Global Game Jam, which is going to be hosted by the Northeastern University Game Dev Club. Boston Indies is endorsing their Global Game Jam site, which I'll put a link to in the chat. If you haven't done Global Game Jam before, usually it's about a 2-day, like 2.5-day game jam. Really good way to get your feet wet and make a game for the first time. Or if you're you've been doing this for a while, good way to meet some new people, collab on a short project, and get something done in a couple days. I'm going to be participating in that. They have a Discord that's set up. Sounds like it's going to be a good time. Yeah. Link is in the chat. Please join us. Come make some games and yeah, have some fun. Is that it? Oh, yeah. One more thing is that while Bit Show is on hiatus, we're going to be running lightning talks in March. That'll probably be March 15th. We have not set up a talk submission page or anything yet. That'll probably come in the next couple weeks. But yeah, I think that's going to do it for me. You can always, of course, follow Boston Indies on Twitter at Boston Indies, and you can join us on the Slack to hang out with your other local Boston game developers at slack.bostongamedev.com. All those links are in the chat. Yeah, that's going to do it for me. Stick around for happy hour after the chat with Neal we're going to have in a few minutes here. Link for that will go into the events channel of the Slack, which I just linked. And yeah, let's get started.
Let's go!
All right. Time for the show.
Okay. Hello, pre-show, where we pretend Neal doesn't exist, even though he's totally just sitting on the couch next to us. How you doing?
Where am
I?
I am green.
It's not easy,
Oh, cheap.
I know.
You can do better.
I totally can.
Whoa! It's fixed. Look at that.
It's fixed. Good job.
Oh, bro. You know what? I'm sorry, Chris, for ragging. That was a shot at Chris. I didn't mean it in any bad way, but he's a master of technology, and he has shown it and fixed my color offset. Thank you.
Wait,
that's the show for everyone.
That was intentional?
No, it's not.
Oh my god, all of our material was jokes about Ziba being green. Now we have nothing to talk about.
Yeah, I know. We got jack shit.
Yeah,
well, why don't we move on to the
Sure, what have you been up to? I heard you've been torturing your child with spicy things.
Oh yeah, just sort of briefly, and make sure that Child Protective Services and that like it apparently if you call a 2-year-old's bluff on the hot sauce, she will call your bluff on giving you this hot sauce, and you'll just be like, kid, you just won that round. I can't do anything. I couldn't be prouder.
Bright future ahead for all involved.
Can I ask you? Well, I know that you're going to tell us about what you've been up to with respect to kind words, so I don't want to. How's harmonica coming?
Oh, I had my 30-second lesson just before the show. 30-second lesson of the. That
is a quick lesson.
They are not. My teacher is very generous. This one was, so I'm supposed to be working on picking out building up my fictional repertoire as if I were a blues performer. And so I'm trying to find songs that I feel like I could sing, which is just interesting. That becomes, usually you think you're going to a music lesson, it's about a topical, it's technique, it's
right.
theory. And this is way more cultural because I'm going through 100 years of songs primarily composed and sung by black men deeply about the sorrows of their lives and trying to figure out which ones I resonate with and feel like I can also then echo and sing to the world.
Yeah.
It's a really interesting.
Well, what have you found so far?
Mostly songs about, I'm just a fool for you.
That's sweet. I like that.
Things like that. Short dressed woman.
Also could see you,
catcalling, really not my thing entirely, but
it totally is. There have been cats, and you're calling them, congregating in a semicircle around your house.
That's what I'm up to. I recommend everyone. Awesome. It's a great time to take music lessons if you have even if you don't have a lot of time. It's one of those things that puts you in a different mental space for a little bit, and it's a great way to support a musician who is not being able to do gigs right now.
Oh, that's true. That's good.
My harmonica. What was the decision to try that?
I have been tinkering with the harmonica my entire life, basically, and I figured maybe a professional could tell me some things I don't know, and it's true. They could. There was a lot.
That's awesome.
We're gonna entreat Ziba to play during the show, just one of those riffs, but not yet because we're just somebody's just gonna yell harmonica.
I was gonna play It's Not Easy Being Green. The whole thing's ruined.
Well, it wasn't easy being green. You failed.
Yeah. Damn it. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, banter.
Okay, banter is good.
But even better is all the amazing things people have done this last week. 2 weeks?
Yeah, 2 weeks. We were here on Saturday. I like how you're first in this. Geez.
It's me. Do you want to take it?
No, I don't, because I would just.
So this is. We haven't announced this yet. Tomorrow, we're putting out a new Kind Words update. We being Luigi and I. This is the midwinter update, and it's got 10 stickers and a giant flippin' Yeti. I think this is maybe the beginning of us just sort of not running out of ideas, but cracking, deciding that we don't really have to be coherent anymore. The games, people are in it, and they're not going away, and we can just start throwing kaiju everywhere. God knows what the next update will be, but I'm happy with this one. It's coming out tomorrow.
Yeah, so you heard it here first. All right, well, next up, Matt, are you in the chat, Matt? Matt chat with Betty and Earl. Not fully arted up yet, but I implemented things that only move in one direction. Wait a second, didn't you do that last week? That's okay.
I don't remember these sexy moves before.
Oh, maybe he did it in the chat.
Is that blood? I didn't know there was blood in this game.
There was blood.
Oh, Matt. All right, Turnip Boy.
Yeah.
UI revamp. Well, that intimidated. They already got all sorts of sex. Yeah, you got that starburst spinning around.
Oh yeah, I like that. It's
bouncing
juicy.
Watering can.
Look at that. Nice.
Yeah, keep at it, team.
I know that was a genuine.
It was some genuine salivation.
Okay, moving on. So asked 2% Human Show. has turned into 0% human SHO into something called the Playfully Automated SHO. And Lars Doucet over Fortress of Doors, Game Data Crunch, my former partner in crime over at Valve, and I are doing basically we wanted to do a bot that could go out and figure out what all is new in the world of Steam, pull a bunch of video about it, and then you can't hear this, I don't think, but talk about it. So there are multiple voices, robot voices, talking about why every game is interesting, and this game is 90% of all user reviews loved it, and it's a hidden gem because only 100 people know about it. So we currently on the system to my right, we run this every single day, and we post it to Playfully Auto is the Twitter bot. So that's that.
I like how you invented a job and then automated your way out of it just like a month later.
That is totally that's sort of my thing. We want to cover every single Steam game out there.
I'm going to run the audio for just like 20 seconds so you can hear it.
It's priced at $4.99.
Now I want to hear the
Number
audio.
8, Speaking Simulator.
Multiplayer, single player, and co-op. Dating sim.
The developer says.
The hilarious game about the complexity of conversation. Move your tongue and lips to make your words come out and try not to let your face explode.
Local co-op. Covered by Engadget, Variety,
Oh
and
yeah,
PC
Lars
Gamer.
also put Crookshank out of
It's priced
business,
at
and that's not 100% of a joke.
All right, moving on.
Moving on.
So can you take his Switch handle and just use that? Can this be Clark Tech now? Yeah? No. All right. Oh, Saul coming at us with the latest installment of his buggy venture. I particularly like how proud Saul is of the crimes against Unity they're been committing and talking about, because I just think that's when you're making yourself comfy. That's when you're really getting at home with it, because you know you've got a thing you want and it's got to be done, and tools aren't going to get in your way. You're going to beat them into submission, and that's a joy of game dev right there.
Yeah, and game dev is all about launching with all of that still unrefactored. So Mazel Tov. Oh, Ziba, you're green again. Okay, next up we got Green Ziba, and Michael Carrier and his team over at ZapDot is doing an asset pack for a, he calls it his Bitworks collection. It's basically our little trailer that we're including with the asset pack is done. We're going to rework the audio to cover if you haven't seen it yet, the 3.5-minute time lapse over an entire, I don't know why we're thrusting at the screen. Apparently it's very sexy. Environment being built with the pack, which I think is a really, really good idea. If you want to create an asset pack, wouldn't it be nice to show how it's used? There you go.
Nice looking assets.
Yeah.
Gladiators. Oh. He's going. Evan Martinez sharing more about their moving around. This is exciting.
I'm super impressed with what he's doing. I didn't realize that he was doing all this stuff. I knew about some of it.
Source and animations.
Yeah.
I'm watching videos myself. I'm getting played. This is.
Where's the Quidditch match?
It's again. So I really respect the patience Evan has taken by there's so much functionality and movement here and staying in this gray box-esque area, which is something I could never. I'd be like, oh, I just want to make it a little prettier, and then I waste my time is just putting on things that aren't the core of getting to the motion in the animation, and it's really great to see Evan.
There's a pretty interesting conversation about that I think it was in the dev chat channel. We were talking about what is the right amount of time to dedicate to working on systems versus content, and when you switch between them. Yeah, so I don't know. People could go check that out and add your thoughts, because it's.
I would love to have that as a debate with Neal, actually, but we have to get to having Neal on the call.
We have to debate whether we're going to how much Neal to have.
Yeah, we can have all Neal all the time. We can go over a little bit. I know I was a stickler about being asleep
Making me blush.
at 8.
Well, we're almost
all right,
through
next
it.
up, Mark. Mark, who's former Boston, Mark Mayers, who's I'm sorry, Mark, you're dead to us. You moved where? To the West Coast? Dead to us. Desolus, in his words, an atmospheric puzzle game where you explore a city of Gothic architecture torn between multiple universes. There are a lot of interesting, I don't want to say portals, but they are kind of portals, not in the portal sense. So you basically solve surreal puzzles by twisting architecture with black holes and travel between universes to navigate impossible spaces. I think that if you are, if you shoot Mark a note, he'll let you play the current version of it. It's evolved quite a bit from what I understand.
Looks awesome.
And lastly, I think it's the last slide. Tyler Haddad is sharing the second devlog for their game. I confess to not having watched it, but I very much appreciate the showing of process, which is such a, particularly now we're so separated from each other, to get into what it takes, where your mind's at, what you work through.
There was a. Sorry, I was gonna riff off you, not interrupt you.
No, I was done.
There's a little something that he mentions is a little tool for palette selection, which I thought was neat. And I don't know where it is in the video, but he posted it to the dev channel as well. And here it rocks.
I also really appreciate that he's doing these like in the style of an Adult Swim show with little bumpers and stuff. Seems like probably a lot of work, but it's fun.
Yeah.
It's great.
Is Tyler here today? No, he's dead. He's also dead to us.
And that is our bit showboating. That's our bit showboating.
Showboating.
Bit showboating for the week. Once again,
make sure to post in the dev log if you want your stuff shown off and massacred by us next week.
Yeah, well, you all never disappoint. It's so nice to see.
No, everybody's doing good stuff.
Yeah, but we've got responsibilities for the rest of the episode. We have to.
I know we got through 8 questions that we wanted to ask Neal.
8 questions specifically.
Neal, who's Neal, you ask? Where is this Neal? Who is this Neal? Let me introduce our guest today. Today's guest is up to something new and exciting. And I don't mean that specifically. As far as I can tell, that is the state that they live in perpetually. Their company's portfolio is a catalog of different ways to bring visions to life. Neal is the CEO of Skymap Games. He is a joyful presence, a friend, and the person most likely to also be contributing to that cool game you heard someone else was making. Please welcome Neal Laurenza.
We are hearing applause. Everybody applause. Don't forget to applause.
Hooray!
You don't get points. You do get points. Welcome.
I'm glad to be here. I love living inside of a computer monitor.
Yeah. How's life in
It's good.
not New Hampshire?
It's life in Cyberland lately. Things are good. Yeah, I can't complain. I mean, like everybody else, stuck at home, but making the best of it. Like Ziba said, trying to learn some new stuff.
Sometimes. You're learning new stuff?
Trying to. I'm trying to learn more about like working with Raspberry Pis and little computer hardware hacks.
Wait, is that your new, like, you're done with like the AAA consulting? You're done with indie games. You're just doing Raspberry Pi games.
Yeah, I'm just doing Raspberry Pi stuff from now on. That's what it's all I do. That's my life.
Hey, they're doing new stuff. No, let's hear for the folks in the audience who don't know. Can you talk a little bit about Skymap?
Yeah, I can talk a little bit about Skymap. So Skymap is a company that kind of operates in like 2 different verticals. One is sort of work for hire games development for like external game development services. And the other is original games. And so we are lucky that we get to do both, which is hard. It's hard pivoting a company out of work for hire to do that, but we're doing it. So here we are.
And what do you do there?
I am the CEO, so I do everything but the dev. There was a time when I used to actually make video games, but now I live in front of spreadsheets most of the day.
You make people make video games.
Is that? Can I ask the question? Is that isn't that what all of us indies aspire to do? Is to just like never make a game again?
Is this our final form?
Well, I hope not. It's funny. Like, I think some people, if they aspire to grow a company, but maybe that's not actually what they want to do. Like maybe what they actually want to do is make video games. And so I don't think there's anything wrong with having someone be a professional manager or something and letting them go do the work if you want to do that. But I'm basically a professional manager now, which is fine. I like it. It's good work.
I saw your LinkedIn. You've been managing stuff for a while.
Yeah. I've been interested in entrepreneurship generally for a really long time. I was actually having a conversation with someone about this recently, that I used to sell little trading cards of these little characters called dudes. They were like little hand-drawn pictures of different people doing poses. There was like a disco dude and a samurai dude or whatever. I would just sell them for like.
You were selling, or were you making these cards?
I was just making these on cardboard in like the second
dudes.
grade. Yeah, I was drawing dudes in second grade and just like selling these for 25 cents for like kids' lunch money and stuff.
That is really good. That's very entrepreneurial. And eventually you started getting other kids to make the dudes, and then you started managing them in a spreadsheet.
I don't think it ever got quite there, but who knows? Maybe if I'd kept going, dudes would be a thing. I don't know.
Yeah. Putting dudes to other mediums. Yeah.
Dudes making dudes, I guess. I don't know.
Oh, that's great. It's like, it's like games who make games, dudes making dudes making dudes.
Yeah, there you go.
Dudes Making Dudes is that movie with where Schwarzenegger gets pregnant?
What?
Oh, what are you talking about?
I don't know.
He's talking about the film Junior.
Thank you.
I think Dudes Making Dudes is a better name, so let's go. Ziba's pretty good with the names.
Yeah.
Dudes to the nth power. Dudes to the 213 power.
It says dude 213. That's good. Like the name in the chat. Oh, that's good. Anyway, yeah. So what are the chats? What is dude 213? Was that a reference to something, or so in the chat with that?
There were 212 dudes in the Boston area. Yes.
All right. So how have you gone from you've probably evolved from just drawing dudes to when you want to make a new game? Like what is it that Skymap is likely to make as their own IP? Like what would you see as a Skymap game?
Yeah, I think we sort of followed like this criteria that I actually ripped off of. I ripped that off of Sony's Sean Layden. He once said that Sony picks games based on 3 criteria, which are first, best, and must. Like first being first to a new genre, or first to do something new in a game that hasn't really been done before, or first to a new platform. Best being like, if you can't be first to something in some way, it's best in class or best in genre, or does something better than another game can do. And then the last one is must, which is like, you don't really have any specific or logical reason why you have to do it, but something in your gut is just screaming, and something in everyone's gut is just screaming about it. And so like, if we don't fit sort of 2 out of those 3 criteria, we don't make a game. But as far as like genre or the type of experience that we're trying to create, it really doesn't actually matter. I think what only matters is that the person who's sort of the creative lead on that game has the freedom to absolutely succeed and fail and try again as quickly as possible to like get it to the point that the gem of what makes the game interesting shines through all the roughness.
Yeah, so like I remember talking to you about a title some months back. I think that's still under wraps, if I understand correctly.
Yeah, so we kind of were lucky. Like right now is actually a really good time to be in video games, even though it's a terrible time to exist in this. Like we're all stuck, we're all sort of stuck at home, but like there's tons of people playing video games, and so we had a lot of game ideas and were able to sort of pitch some projects, and we were able to get some funding from sources, primarily platform holders. And so we're building actually 2 games. One is like a story-driven, like a narrative-driven game about robots in the future, and I can talk about that in a second. And then the other one's much easier to explain, which is kind of like Beat Saber, but it's more Tai Chi and less Taekwondo. So it's less like harsh movements and more about just like looking up at the night sky and moving gently.
I could use that. We can all use that this year, last year as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just Cyber's in the background doing smooth talking.
Smooth
wave
motions.
my arms for Neal. Just wave my.
That's upsetting and soothing.
You could whisper that into my ear if you wanted. That was pretty good.
I think you just did.
Yo for this game.
ZSMR right there.
I like. Yeah. So that's kind of been what. We don't have like any particular criteria. It's just mostly like trying to come up with ideas that everyone around the team can get passionate about, and giving someone with some creative freedom to do it. And if if it doesn't really get picked up by either a platform holder or like a publisher or something, then we pretty much just dump it. Not because it's a bad idea, but just because like we've now been through, I think Skymap's worked on 50 games. Yeah, so after seeing 50 games and learning like what works and what doesn't, you just start to figure out like if you're not going to get it now, you just shelve it and you try again later with the same concept, and it might be interesting a year from now, and like you won't know because the market just changes so quickly.
Oh, interesting. Can you give I don't want to be too specific because I know there's stuff that you're doing behind the scenes, but can you give some examples of mechanics or themes or concepts that may not have resonated at one point but you expect to resonate again?
Yeah, we were really interested in this idea of like 2-player, 1-controller type games where you have cooperative experiences. So we had this game where you were like a shepherd, and there was an AI flock of sheep, each sheep with their own slightly different personality. Like one is slightly more likely to get scared or slightly more likely to do one thing or another. And one player would lead the flock, and the other would be a dog that is circling around the flock and trying to keep it contained and like moving behind the shepherd in the right direction. And we pitched it, and people were like, "Oh, this is cool, but like, we're not going to invest into like a couch co-op game right now." And at the time, that just wasn't
right.
like a good...
Who's at home? Everybody's gone outside.
Yeah. Like everybody wants all like multiplayer, right? So that game wasn't a good fit. But I think there was something that game really felt like it needed to be 2 people like together playing it. It's hard to explain why. I don't know why, but yeah.
So speaking of your team, what you're doing, like you're looking at your website, between your original stuff and your contract stuff, you have such a huge range of skill sets being applied. Like, how are you growing and maintaining being able to have a team that can do all these things?
Yeah, that's great question. So we're 18 employees, and I think we're going to grow even more in 2021. We'll see. And like the only 2 or 3 things, well, we do like 3 things. That's it. Engineering, professional management, and design. Like outside of that, we work with art houses, and we just like manage the process of like saying, hey, this is all the stuff that we want, and then we kind of bring in those projects. So the thing that's most important for us is we just need to have like a lot of folks on staff that are really strong engineers first, and then everyone sort of starts to figure out what they're good at and their expertise and their specialization, and then we just let them like go and do that thing as much as possible. So we have some folks that when they started with us, they were just like, yeah, I know C++, but I don't really know what I'm going to be good at yet. And we just let them try a lot of stuff, and eventually they figure out, oh, I really like online multiplayer and I want to go learn everything I can about that. And so we try to pivot people based on what project makes the most sense.
Hey, Neal, roll back netcode, yay or nay?
Roll back netcode? Good question. I guess yay, if it's a fighting game, right? I don't know.
I think that's the correct answer.
Yeah. But I guess it depends on the game. I don't know. There's some cool people making tech around like crazy rollback netcode right now.
Yeah, I mean, the whole point be like, you talk about multiplayer online. How do you get things like, fighting games requires like split second timing? How do you do that when latency is greater than 0?
It's really hard. Yeah, I can't say we've worked on any online multiplayer that's like ultra crazy, like fighting games where the competition is super intense. Maybe some games that are like online shooters and that sort of thing that we've done, but not quite like that. It's really hard work. Network multiplayer is tough.
But you are doing a lot of tough things, and I like in particular, and this is where I'm gonna corner you and rip you apart personally and dive into your psyche. You talked about first best must, and I'm looking at your portfolio.
I know where this is going.
One thing sticks out, particularly the description of work performed on this item: Chex Quest, volunteer services for HD remake. Why
Yes.
are you a slave to Chex Quest?
Okay, so this is kind of funny. We worked, our first game, like straight out of school, was a game called Bacon Man. And I saw, we were like trolling on the Unreal forums to try and find people who had paid work. And we were doing like $15, $20 an hour work, like whatever we could get our hands on just to get experience. And the one game that stuck out was I played Chex Quest to death when I was a little kid.
Explain it and its joys for the people who don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, imagine you are a child of the 90s and you are walking down the cereal aisle and you see a box of cereal with an action character on it. And that action character is like this Chex dude with a laser gun in his hand, and it says CD-ROM inside. And your brain, of course, as a kid is going to freaking explode because, like, I only have to get my mom to, like, convince her to buy me this $3 or whatever it costs for a box of cereal, and I get a video game, right? So this game was a DOS Windows 95 game. It was a Doom mod made by this company that, like, they basically adopted the Doom engine to make an advert. What's called an advert game, which is like an advertising game for the Chex cereal General Mills company. Well, it ends up people kept making that game. Like there was a Chex Quest 2 and a Chex Quest 3 and modding, and people made like online multiplayer for it, and it continued all the way until like today. And we saw that one of the original devs on the Chex Quest the original Chex Quest project, posted on Unreal Engine forums and said, "I'm looking for volunteers to work on Chex Quest HD. I'm building it in Unreal Engine." And we're like, "Okay, let's just do this because we don't have the time. We're already broke anyway. So what's going to go wrong?" So we like basically came in and helped them sort of build all the infrastructure that they needed to get it to a certain point. And then the game actually ended up getting picked up by General Mills. And at that point, Skymap didn't even have the availability to be able to work on the game anyway. So we were off the project for like probably a year by then. GM bought the rights out and like paid all the devs that did the work on the HD remake of the game. And then they had, I think, Flight School work on the full version, which they then shipped with Chex Mix instead of Chex Cereal. And so now there's our code is like in there somewhere and all that stuff, but Chex Flight School built a bunch of stuff off of it and made it its own. It's a totally new, like,
And
better
this
product.
launched a little less than a year ago.
That's right. Yeah. I think the last time we worked on it was 2017 or 2018 or something. It was like a long time thing.
I'm seeing very positive reviews on Steam. Thank you, Joe Bell, for the link. 81%, like 8 out of 10 people loved it out of like 1,400 players. So
That is a beautiful story of snacking and childhood wonder and capitalism and.
It's really weird. It's a super strange story. I mean, I'll show you what. Hang on a second.
he's got his checks right there, man.
I got my checks.
dressed
I
as
got
a
my checks
full-size
right here.
Chex piece.
Hang on. So I got the Chex emblem here. Now you can't see it with the virtual background. I'll turn that off. Hang on. This will take me like 2 seconds. Okay. Now you get to see the door to my closet.
He's a door.
Door? Oh God!
So here's my Chex Quest official plaque.
That's
Right.
nice.
And we're not messing around. And then Limited Run
That's
did
pretty good.
a.
Well, wait a
Limited Run-
second. Why
I don't have a
do
plaque for anything I've ever done.
Why does Neal get a plaque? Neal gets a
yeah.
plaque, and Chris gets a plaque. I'm sure I have a plaque somewhere. So where the fuck is
And
yours?
I don't have that thing.
They didn't mess around. Like Limited Run did a whole. They even gift wrapped it. There's like a VHS tape, Chex Quest.
You had this so close on hand.
This is amazing.
Oh yeah, I have my I keep a bookshelf full of
like, is your
video
bed
game
right there? Is it do you sleep with it
paraphernalia.
under your pillow?
That's my couch. Yeah, it's covered in dirty laundry. Don't mind that, but I'm disgusting. I live in my office.
Sleep with the Chex Mix. Oh, they're so precious to me. My checks.
My Chex Quest. My Chex Quest. I need it. It's very good. I loved working on that. And, I got my little T-shirt and everything. That was a lot of fun. I love I like working on games that have a story. Like the weirder, harder it was to work on, not like hard in the oh god I hate working on this project hard kind of way, but hard in like the weird, unusual challenges. That's the kind of stuff I like. You know, I like a story that I can tell people about a project. If I don't have a story, it's like.
All right, to clarify, you're not talking about a game with a story. You mean a story about the whole development process.
A story about the development
Distance
process
of the thing.
It's much more interesting. Like there's a lot of work for hire in particular that's just like, hey, we just need to solve this problem. Go like we'll pay you to go solve this thing.
Yeah.
But that's boring.
Yeah.
You know, like if it's something weird, that's much more fun.
Well, I don't know if you all are on Neal's site, but if you'll see a bunch of games that he's worked on, and you will potentially recognize a bunch as being Boston area studios: Spellbreak, Proletariat, Drake Hollow, Molasses Flood, Perception, which we had Bill and Amanda on Saturday, and then Chex Quest. I don't know where they're based, but we heard the story about that.
Distributed team, let's say that.
Wait, Chris, is this Chex Quest that we're seeing? Oh no, that's
No, I played some Chex Quest video earlier. Now I'm just playing random.
Okay, that was Spellbreak. I knew it looked familiar. Then Chex Mix Makeout League.
Yeah, Crystal Puzzle's a good one too. So we've tried a little of everything. In 2020, it was like the time to take lots of different shots and try things and see what works and what's cool. And our friends run a company called Rude Ghost, and they were like, hey, we're making this game called Pixel Puzzle Makeout League. And we were like, well, we can't really dev on it because it's not like the game didn't need extra development. It just needed like a little help sort of getting on more platforms and like navigating the publishing realm. So we published that, which was cool. That was our first time, like we published like a couple of games, self-published or helped some devs before, but that game's really good. Like I seriously can't recommend it enough. If you like Picross style games, it has this brilliant story with this twist ending that just absolutely like shocked me when I first kind of heard about it. And
well, I hear it's like, it is part visual novel, so a dating sim. So I hear it's kind of like the Doki Doki Literature Club of Picross.
Yeah, it's kind of like that in the sense that it's not one genre. It's this two genre mashup, but it does it in a way that actually feels organic and like it's not like hard cut from one thing to the other. Like the puzzles that you work on, when you solve them, they have something to do with the story. And not to mention I think it's one of the best. It's actually one of the best Picross puzzle games I think I've played too. Because like sometimes they're not super exciting, but this one like does a really good job on the controls and squish and all the things that make it a little better. So it's a great game.
I was looking like you look like you just found the yellow sexy piece screenshot. That's the expression. I'm like,
I'm sorry if I thought I was off camera. I got way too into it.
Yeah.
Oh, don't forget it won a Figgy. This is.
Oh yeah, it won a Figgy.
Hey, Carol. There's Carol over there. Yeah.
Carol.
Hey.
Yeah, it's a good. Yes, James. Kara says James is a peach. I agree. James is the nicest.
Yeah, James organized a PAX panel for the last PAX.
Yeah, we had a shared panel. That's right. You guys did a panel together. Yep, and then we had a shared booth there, and that was a good PAX. That we really dodged a bullet with COVID.
Oh my gosh! How did we not infect everyone?
It just left a silhouette of us behind it with accidentally no bullets that hit where we were.
That was super weird. I mean, how many folks in the chat went to PAX? I think like all of us, many of us were on site a little bit for whatever reason. I tried
boothing for days.
Yeah, were you boothing for days?
Yeah, we were selling cassettes for Kind Words soundtrack.
Nice.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that. I was. I tried not to be on the floor.
Oh, that's cool.
Showing this off. It's not green. But... Oh, hey, thanks.
Oh, nice. Hey, there we go. Nice.
Okay, does everybody have one? Jeez.
I got a few
Sexy.
left if you want one.
That is sick.
I
Well,
want
yeah.
one. I wasn't able to get one. I
We
need that.
should. That is a sick. How did you get this? Not to talk too much about Ziba
Oh,
because we always do that. How did
There's
you get
like
that?
one
I love
company
talking
left
about
that produces all cassettes. There's several sheets of paper you fill out and sign a bunch of rights away, and
And you have to make music.
and they ship you a giant box, and you're like, wow, I just ordered a thing from the past, and it's here. And I've ordered a lot of it.
Yeah.
So that's actually a thing. You really can just literally mail order your own cassette tapes. Just
Yeah, it's from there's like one remaining professional cassette
Right.
production company. And their forms look like they're from the heyday of when cassettes were all the hot thing.
Yeah.
And they've got a bunch of different color options and case options, and you check these boxes, fill it out, and send them this and that. And the prices weren't bad, and they were very nice. The process is a little manual, but then they ship you a giant box of cassettes, and they've got options for mail merging keys and printing off stuff like that.
Very nice.
They know
That's
people
awesome.
really want
I think the key should just be spoken on the cassette tape. D775 dash.
That's super cool. Yeah, I like that kind of blast from the past sort of.
Well, I mean, clearly you love Chex Mix. It's I mean, it's a blast from the,
Yeah,
the current, but also
It's the VHS tape, box. Like I love that.
that is of Neal's next. We can't see it because of the green
Can't see
screen,
it
but
very
that is
well.
his
I got-
next
The side
game.
of the VHS tape was all of space.
I'm gonna leave the stupid thing off. I
No,
don't like that
it's-
zoom thing. That's a bad feature. They shouldn't even made that. Here, check it's a fake tape. That.
It's fake?
I wish I did a real tape. That would be cool.
Yeah. Well, Ziba knows a guy.
The sound of it, yeah.
Last time I visited my grandparents, I helped them reset up their VCR. They had some tapes I wanted to
Did you
watch.
program it? Is it?
That's a project I'm trying to do right now. Is I'm trying to convert all my old family VHS tapes into digital. Yeah.
Ooh.
It's not that hard, I guess. I don't know. I'm learning.
The hard thing is watching them. It depends. Like even I don't know. It's just. I'm sorry. There's too much. Even good past. It's weird to go back.
You can't.
It's weird. Yeah.
Well, because we were all young and stupid, and we thought we were going to live forever, and now we're old and dead, and we can't walk.
I've got my mom is like, I'd really love to have these digitized. It's just like, it can't be that hard.
Yeah.
It's not. I think it's like a $100 adapter or something. It's not anything too bad. But it's a little creepy seeing yourself as like a little kid. It's like weird.
Yeah. The technical requirements
I don't like
are
it.
nothing compared to the emotional requirements of. Not that I have some traumatic past or anything, but it's just.
Well,
Even
you
with the good
did. You
stuff.
did have toilet rat, Ziba, so that's pretty
I
traumatic.
didn't
You're-
get
That's
that
pretty
on
traumatic.
VHS.
Well, say like Ziba's.
That's on Laserdisc.
Well, Don
Never be able
Bluth's
to recover that
toilet
one.
rat. No, Ziba used to have like a full head of hair. I mean, he still does, but now it's it used to be dark, and now it's like he's the Trevor Stricker.
That was green.
Now it's green of indies. Now we're all old.
Well, anyway,
And that's our show.
great show.
But for really, we want to move to the part where we're all having happy hour together
Yes.
because it's not just about us.
Not just about you, Neal. Not just about you and your damn
No.
cereal.
No, I'm saying
awesome.
it's so much about Neal that I want to get everybody else in talking to Neal.
All right, we should do that. Let's do that. How do we do that? What do we ask? We always ask Neal. How do we get in touch with you? How do we follow you?
Before we move on, there's one project that Neal is involved with that might also be relevant to the host of this show that we haven't talked about at all.
That's right.
So I'm just gonna put that on screen. You don't have to talk about it if you don't want to.
Yeah, no, I absolutely will. So yeah, actually, I've had the pleasure of working with Chris on Jet: The Far Shore, which is the next Super Brothers game. So that's been really cool. So that'll be out on PS5 and PS4 at some point. There's some release date info coming soon in the future, hopefully. And that game, I can't spoil anything at all because they'll shoot me with snipers from the Sony headquarters. But yeah, it's been an amazing project, and Chris has been absolutely phenomenal with helping to make that happen.
That's right. Let's get a round of applause for Chris.
Yeah, that's right.
I didn't really. This is the first time I'm seeing the teaser. This is amazing. So like Sword and Sorcery.
Sorry, no one could hear you
Yeah.
because I was blasting the Duke Nukem theme song.
Yeah, they've been working on this game for a while, and we had the opportunity to have Skymap come in and help out. And of course, this is what I was talking about. I said, first best must kind of projects. Like they're doing some amazing stuff, and it was our first opportunity to start working on some PS5, which was really exciting too. So a lot of great stuff going on there.
Are they going to also have to move to Boston now that you're working with them?
I think they're all in Canada. Yeah, it's nice up there.
Yeah. Well, Canada's the Boston of the North.
What does that mean?
Why just
It's great.
Why? I don't know. Why do they say anything? Like I don't make this stuff. I don't make up the rules.
North is the south of the North.
It's the Paris of the South.
Paris of the South.
Well, that's wait, what is the Paris of the South? Never mind.
It's good. I like it.
Yeah, let's say yes. Somebody in the chat will know. Okay.
The point that Chris is bringing up by bringing up Jet here is that, as I said in the introduction, Neal is the person most likely to be working on that cool thing you heard about, but didn't realize.
Or you might be working on a game with Neal and you don't even realize it. That's.
Yeah, I think it's funny because the industry's not. It's not that. I mean, it's big, but it's not that big. Especially Boston. Who knows? Maybe I'll get to work with everyone someday.
Everyone. Whispers the Paris of the 80s.
So how can people follow your work or connect with you outside of this?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter. Neal Nito is my username, and then also skymap.com is my company site, and that's a little out of date. There's some projects that we got to put on there that haven't been updated, but that's usually where I post what's going on. It's funny, like I'm actually more quiet, I think, on social media and about like stuff we're doing. I try to like do the work.
Well, you're busy doing shit. Social media is for people who are slackers. They're just like posting about their cats and shit.
It's funny because I think community in games is really, really important. And actually shows like this are really great because it like gets everyone exposed to all these different people. But I also think there's an equal amount of bubbling that's also healthy because it lets your mind like focus on the thing without having to worry too much about all the noise of like what everyone else is up to. And then, I think making art and making games especially is really hard. And there's so much noise that it can become more distracting. But I try and post. I think I should try and post more because I think we are doing cool stuff and we don't get to actually tell too many people about it. Not because we can't, just because we haven't. So
yeah, well, the world benefits from it. So when you have time, shine your light on us, Neal.
Oh no, give us all your light, Ziba. light me up, dog. Let's go.
All right. We're ready to light each other up in the happy hour.
I don't know what that means, but I'm so with you. So
cue?
Stay tuned, stay on, and Neal, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you, guys. Thanks so much.
Let's get one last round of applause for Neal.
Oh,
Round of
thanks.
applause.
And thanks, Chris, Ziba, and Ichiro. Yay. You guys.
All right. That's going to do it for our show tonight. Thank you again, everyone, for joining us. I'll be posting a link to the happy hour chat in the events channel on the Slack, which I'll post a link to in the chat again. Slack.bostongamedev.com. As I mentioned, this will be the last bit show for a little while because I'm moving. Lightning Talks on March 15th, and I posted links to all the other stuff that's going on. But just get in the Slack and hang out, and you'll figure out what's happening. That's going to do it for us tonight. Thanks. That was a weird sign off. I feel like I have a line or something, right? Probably not.
What's up, everyone? It's the Bit Show.
I figured out the intro. I have not figured out the outro, so I'm just gonna play the video. And then we're gonna call it a night.
Intro!